Folks, welcome back to the Get Off Our Lawn show. I know it's been a while, but we are back and we're thrilled to be back. It's been way too long. My name is Dave Jackson. Welcome to my little man cave here in Western PA. Down there in the great state of North Carolina is my buddy Dave Seymour. And
Doing
folks, we have today, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a Jackson in this podcast today. And today we have the one and only from the class of 1980 of Dryden, New York, Mr. Ron Jackson.
welcome, Ryan. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hey, Ronnie. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Fire away.
We are so happy to have you. And just so folks know, because I know there's some curiosity out there. You and I are technically, well, that we know of, you and I are not related. There was like three families of Jacksons in our high school, right?
Yep.
Which now was the late, great, wonderful, God rest her soul, Shelley Jackson. Is she related to you?
Yeah, she was my cousin.
She was your cousin. Okay, so
Okay.
that's one family. I have my family, and there was another Jackson family, Chris, and you remember the other group, the other Jacksons?
No.
There was another Jackson family in that I know I wasn't related to. So I know it was three Jacksons. So Ron and I are not related. Another,
Well, we could be.
we
You
could
could
be
be.
somewhere, but not that we know of. So,
I don't know. Dave's dad got around.
well, that's true. That's not. He's not lying. He's not
Well,
lying.
he screwed up because there aren't any of us tall.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're the shorter brother from another mother. Yes,
Yes, I am.
yes, you are.
5'5" and a half, but I usually round up to 5'6".
Oh,
There you go.
all right. You just if you have a good tailwind, you kind of round up, right?
Yeah, round is one thing. Yep.
A tailwind. That's funny. We graduated on a fine June afternoon. It was sunny outside. Everybody's sitting on the football field. Did you attend the football field graduation ceremony?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So, from that moment, what happened next? What did you do?
It's quite a journey, actually.
Yeah, so that's where
That's
we,
why we're here.
we find out where you've been, what you've been doing, who you've been doing it with.
All right. Well, I wanted to get my own welding business when I got out of school.
Okay.
Went to BOCES for welding and been just kind of a niche for it all my life. And we didn't have the money to get a business going for myself, with the family to get started. So it was a little bit of a struggle. And so I was working over to Beck Farms. I'd
Mhm.
feed calves and pitch stalls in the morning, and then I'd go out and try to drum up welding work, and
Mhm.
it wasn't working so good. Well, Mr. Jackson was getting hungry. So I ended up working in a couple shops and finally got into Paul Trinity Micro Corporation.
All right.
And I thought I could weld till I got in there and found out I didn't know nothing about welding.
Oh,
We had I think it was a 4-year apprenticeship program I went through and became first class welder and welded on a lot of nuclear stuff. And I think it was kind of a boom for nuke subs and things like that, and nuclear power plants. So we had a lot of nuclear work, and they're pretty fussy. And that place taught me to be very fussy. So, anyways, I worked that, and then my brother got out of school, and at the time, mom and dad a little better off on the cash, and they got a business going, and I
Mhm.
ended up leaving Paul Trinity and got in the shop and worked there for a few years. And I don't know, me and my brother, we were like best of friends, and we started butting heads, how family is. And
Yep.
so he was there before I was, so I figured I'd go find something else to do, and got into power plants.
Okay.
all right.
And
Now-
I worked in coal-fired power plants for 32 years.
So let me ask you a question. Where was Paul Trinity? Was that in Newfield?
No, it's in Cortland,
Portland.
Portland. Okay. All right.
right there on 281. Yeah, that was a nice place to work. I just got kind of bored with the work, I mean, we had a lot of certifications we had to take, and I got through all those without any trouble, and it just got to the point where
Mhm.
everything. Like we're repetitive,
Yeah.
and I get kind of bored easy. So I went to the shop, and then I don't know, I was there maybe 3-4 years, and it was time to do something different. like I
And
say,
that was when
electric
you
power
branched
plant.
out and you started the family welding business, or was that welding or something else that the family did?
No, we're Jackson's Welding.
Okay.
Jackson's Welding and Fab. We're open for I think 25 years.
Wow.
Where was that shop at?
It started out on Route 13, just outside of Cortland,
Hmm.
and just a small little one door shop, and then we ended up buying a building down on Homer Ave, 215 Homer Ave, and it was a 80 by 100-foot block building, had a lift and all kinds of space. It was a perfect shop, and bought it through a bankruptcy, and it was a great place to have a shop. It's just you got to get along, and yeah, I could see a friendship being split apart, so it's time to go.
I see. And that was your brother and parents, or was that
Well,
you and your brother?
my dad uh, helped get it started as far as on the cash flow and stuff.
Hmm.
My brother, it was really me and my brother ran the shop, and Dad would come down on his vacations and stir up everybody, and then we had damage control when he went back to work.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, Dad, he came down. He was a part of it. And then I worked in the plants. Started out as a janitor and as a laborer, and worked my way up. And in 2000, what was it? Yeah, it was year 2000. We ended up getting bought out. And Nice Egg sold us. It
Hmm.
was a New York State Electric and Gas plant, and they sold us. And an AES corporation bought the company, and they were global. And we ended up buying a business in Indiana and Indianapolis Power and Light. They had 3 power plants in Indiana, and my plant manager ended up going to the largest plant that AES owned, which was Petersburg, which is southwest part of Indiana.
Okay.
And he asked me to come along, and so I did, and trusted him, and he told me to take care of me, and he did, and gave
Nice.
me a pretty good position in the plant. And I always said that people with my education don't get chances like that, so you better not throw it away. And he stuck his neck out, and it worked out. Ended up with a leadership role, and then just kept promoting up through the plant. And then I don't know, I think it was I think we were out there for 7 years,
Okay.
and the kids and I and Deb, we loved the area, loved the people.
Hmm.
It was our type of living, laid back country setting. And we ended up, my wife's dad passed away from out there, and she had to bury him from out there. And I kind of swore to her that I wouldn't make her go through that again. So I told her I'd try to get back home, and I ended up transferring, intercompany transfer to Somerset, which is up by Lockport, Medina area. I don't know if you know where that is. It's between Buffalo and Rochester.
Okay.
Yep,
Yep.
it's we're about 5 miles off Lake Ontario. So I
Okay.
ended up transferring to that plant in '07 and made a go of it there, and retired from there. And then I left there. The plant was closing down. New York State was shutting down all the coal-fired power plants. And in
Okay.
Somerset, our plant was the last coal-fired plant in New York State. And they finally squeezed us out of business. And my wife talked me into putting my application in down at Bosse's, which is where she worked.
Mhm.
She worked in the machine shop, and they were looking for a welding instructor.
Oh,
I hemmed and hawed on it, and I really, you work in plants your whole life. It's a whole nother world.
Yes.
You're in
Trying
there
to
with
keep.
teachers and educators, and
yeah.
and the students. Just everything is different.
Did,
So
did,
I put my name in, and they ended up hiring me, and I worked there for I think 6 years, and then I just retired in June.
did you enjoy teaching?
It's the best job I ever had.
Isn't it fun? I mean,
It's
Dave does it too. And I did a little bit in the military and some of my civilian life. I absolutely enjoyed it.
it's an amazing reward, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Do you get to share some of your skills with
Yeah.
up and coming kids or students or whatever?
For me, I mean, my skill is what it is, but my experience is really where my strength.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, the one thing I always tell people is when I worked at the plant, and I walked out of there with 32 years, and I mean, I I busted my hind end to get where I was at, and I had to take in a lot of knowledge and learn a lot of different things. And
Hmm.
you walk out that door, and all of that hard work suddenly became worthless.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares about how to rebuild a boiler feed pump? You know, you know, and valves and you know, just coal systems. You know, nobody cares. And no matter how good you were or how much you knew, it's worthless knowledge now. And when I went to teach, it was an opportunity to pass on those experiences.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? I mean,
That's awesome you got to do that.
you get years and years of experience, and then people are like, "Oh, you're just an old guy sitting in the corner somewhere, right?"
right.
And it's and you got all this stuff. You've got all this knowledge and experience.
It's pretty cool to watch those kids when you turn one, you know, it's going down the wrong road, and you
Yeah.
pull him in and becomes part of your family. And
Yeah.
you know, I got kids that text me all the time and call me and let me know what's going on. One of the kids, they had a baby boy, and I'm the godfather. You know, I mean, I don't know, it's
That's
just,
cool. That's
you know,
pretty cool.
it's just amazing how close they'll let you in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, so that Bosie's facility was up towards Rochester, between Rochester and Buffalo, or
yeah, it's in Medina.
okay.
Yep.
Oh, Medina. Okay. All right.
Yeah, my dad did I don't know, 20 years in Bosie's on the Bosie's board down in Ithaca. And so he was involved in all that kind of stuff.
It's amazing. It's an amazing reward.
Yeah.
I I don't think I wouldn't have been as good of an instructor had I not done what I did before I went.
Hmm.
You know,
Sure.
my experiences were my strength, not my knowledge. I mean, I'm not the sharpest guy in the world, but you know, I can weld pretty good, and but I've done a lot of things in life that I can help kids be employable and
Yes.
be respectful. You know.
Well, that's part of our gig is passing on our knowledge to the next generation, right? That's part of being
That's right.
us. Yeah.
And but you know that when I walked out of that plant, that kind of hit me like that. And
Yeah.
you know, everybody goes through that, but it's like, what do I do with all of this stuff? You put it in a
Right.
shelf and
Yeah.
That's
never look.
exactly it.
Yep. So it was kind of neat, you know. Kids, they have a lot of respect for people who've been there and done that more than a guy that's just teaching it out of a book, you know.
Well, that's the thing, right? And so, likewise, on my classes, I still do some design work. I do PC board design, electronic design, whatnot. And so it's nice to be able to teach a class and say, I still design, and I'm not just giving you stuff from 100 years ago
Right.
or whatever.
Right. That's how you reach them, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
I would
Yep.
agree.
That's where you get the nibble on the hook.
Mhm.
And you can start reeling them in the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to hear about your family, man.
I got two boys and a daughter.
Okay.
We when we moved up here, we bought an Amish farmhouse. It's built in 1850s. It had
I saw your wedding pic. When did you get married?
hey Deb, when did we get married? 83.
83.
Oh, 83.
Yeah.
So
I didn't
tell
want
us,
to get it wrong.
yeah, tell us the story of how you met your wife.
Blind date. My dad worked with her sister. We went
Oh.
we went down to Lido's for spaghetti. I don't know if you remember Lido's down in Cortland, but
Hmm.
little spaghetti place.
Okay.
Was that on the
She-
north side of town, little white building, little white house?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's right there. What is that? Port Watson?
Well, there was the Italian kitchen in Cortland. I remember that one. The little Italian kitchen place, which I think might be what Dave was thinking of.
Yeah, my wife, she caught me bumming $20 off my dad so I could buy her dinner.
Oh,
I did not know that. So yeah, took her. We went home, took her out to a movie that night, and then shook her hand on the porch and asked her if she'd want to meet up again sometime. She said yeah, and then that was the end of it.
what movie did you go see?
I couldn't tell you.
Deb?
You know, it's funny. Neither one of us can remember. I went as far as Googling the Plaza Theater movies that were on in 1982
Yeah.
Yes.
or 81 or whatever it was, and we still can't figure it out.
Wow.
But yeah, we've had a really good relationship. She's my best friend, and
Mm-hmm.
life is good. She's always there.
So 41 years?
Yep.
Yeah, man, something like
Um, and your kids? Tell me about the kids.
Yep, got two boys and a daughter. I was telling you about the farmhouse. So my son, he worked out to the plant with me as a mechanic, and of course he was going to lose his job. So we decided we didn't want to lose what we had here at the farm. So we got 50 acres in the farm. So he's buying the farm and the big house he's staying in, and this place came with a bakery. The Amish had a bakery, and we're turning it into a little living quarters for Grandma and Grandpa.
Okay.
So
Nice.
we live right across the driveway from him, and he's got four boys, and they're in and out of here all the time, right across the driveway. And
Wow.
then my other son, middle boy, he's got a son and a daughter, and we try to get them up here whenever we can, and they spend the night with the grandkids, and
Mm-hmm.
get to know their cousins, and they're about 20 minutes from here, 25.
Okay.
And Josh is an electrician. He well, I'll start with Nate. We'll finish off with Nate. So he's got four boys, and he's got a really nice wife.
Okay.
I think they range from 10 years old down to, how old's Henry, hon? 4? No, Henry's not 4. Henry? No, Wayne Henry. Is he 5? All right, so 5. He's got 4 boys from 10 to 5, and
Wow.
buddy, I'm telling you, if they can find it, they're in it.
Uh,
But they live right across the driveway.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. See them every day.
As I say, all the grandkids are around you.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think I got a dream life, really.
Sounds like it.
So Nate, he's I'm not sure what they call it, but he's like a repairman for GM
okay.
plant in outside of Lockport. He's a gearhead. He helps me on the farm, right? I should say I help him now.
Mhm.
He's the ramrod. I just do what he tells me to. So but they've got what do we got here? We got beef cows, we got meat goats, milking goats, chickens, ducks, pigs in the spring, meat chickens.
Wow.
And so do you sell any of that?
Yeah, we sell the beef are mine and Deb's, and the rest of the critters are Nate's.
Okay.
We sell the beef, they sell the eggs, we sell meat chickens, they sell the pigs, and they do a lot of 4-H shows and messing around with that kind of stuff.
Wow.
You do your own butchering?
No, that's too much messing around. I'll do my own deer if I have to, but
Uh-huh.
I've gotten to the point I've shot so many dang deer I could care less if I ever cut another one up. So I go pay the $90 and tell them what size package you put it in.
Yeah. How much sausage you want?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's Nate. And then Josh, he's the middle son. He took BOCES. Both of the boys took BOCES. Nate took welding. Josh took electrical. Josh ended up in his senior year, took first place in states, and ended up going to nationals and took 5th place in the nation.
Wow.
So when he got out of school, the union scooped him up, and he worked for the union hall for a while. And I don't know if you guys ever worked for union halls or not, but there, the work is, it's either feast or famine, and you do a lot of traveling sometimes. And so he wanted to start raising a family and started leaning towards getting in a plant of some sort. So he ended up getting in a plant, I don't know, probably 15 minutes from here, 10, 15 minutes. And he's their lead electrician down there, and he's doing all the programming and the PC troubleshooting on the processes, and all the big switch gear and down to the tiny stuff. And he's pretty sharp, but he's doing really well. It's a union shop, so, and he's a union steward down there, so he got more headaches than he needs, but he likes to make sure everything's fair. He's got one boy and a girl. Wayne is what's Wayne, 4 or 3? Be 4, right? Yeah, so he'll be 4 next month, and the little girl, she just turned 2, I believe.
So what? I've lost count. What's the total number of grandkids?
We got 6 little rascals.
This many, right?
4 and 2.
Yep.
Wow.
4 and 2.
Yep.
You're
And then
pretty-
my daughter, she lives about 10, 15 minutes from here. She works in the same place Josh does. She's over the shipping and receiving.
Mm-hmm.
She ramrods that, and she's got a pretty good spot there. She's not married yet, doesn't have any kids yet, but
How old is she?
oh yeah, what is she, 31 or so? Somewhere in there.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Early 90s. Yep.
Yeah, she's the youngest one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's the spoiled one.
So all the kids and all the grandkids are very close. Everybody's doing great.
Yep. Yep.
This is
I'm very blessed.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this already, Ron.
Yeah,
I'm loving it.
I'll tell you, our Christmases are special. We get together, it's special. And, the kids, we take Wayne every Tuesdays and Thursday and take him to daycare down to Bosse's.
Yeah.
So we get him half a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he goes out with me. We feed the cows. We're building fence. We're doing this. We're doing that. And he's my right-hand man on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Nice.
I was going to say that's about the age you start getting into mini bikes and ATVs, right?
Oh, we got more motorcycles and crap running around here. You ought to see this place when they're all running at the same time.
I was going to say, I mean, I can imagine, because that was what we used to do, all over Freeville, was break out into that. And so,
yeah, Dad's usually busy fixing them when they're all out riding.
yep. Well, it's always something, right?
Yep. Yeah, he just had to fix the frame on one of them where the 4-year-old smashed into something and drove the fork tubes right into the dang spark plug.
Wow.
So, but oh yeah, they're something else in boys, but they're all boys, every bit of them.
They're all boy. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, we do a lot of fishing, a lot of hunting.
Okay.
I've usually got one in my tree stand with me, and usually the bass boat don't go out of the driveway without one in it. But yeah,
Now, where do you go fishing? Do you have a pond somewhere nearby, or you go on a lake?
no, I don't. I used to go on Lake Ontario, but it gets so dang rough. It's just a 18-foot bass boat, so we've been hitting the canal and the small lakes. We'll go up and down the canal a little bit. We found a couple of honey holes in there and jerk some bass out of that.
Is bass your go-to fishing? What's your go-to for fishing?
Yeah, I like to catch them.
Yeah.
But it depends, if I want to catch what I'm fishing for.
Yeah.
That's what if I'm gonna go out for crappie or bluegill or something, panfish, that's what I want to catch. But
yeah,
if I'm bass fishing, which is usually what we're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
the kids look at you like you got 6 heads when you make them throw back in the water. But all right, guys, got to put him back in. Yeah, but no fish fried today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I think I got the best life in the world, man.
You do.
That's nice.
So cool. Wow.
I don't know. I'm just a glow about myself with it. We've ended up well. We've been very blessed.
Nice. Well, let's talk a little school.
All right.
All right. So via your picture dump that you sent us today, which by the way was awesome, all your pictures.
Yeah.
You started over there in McLean, right?
Yeah, I started in McLean. Yep.
So
yep, kindergarten to 3rd, and then went to Dryden. I'm trying to find the dang picture. If I ever find it, I'll send it to you, because there's some of the kids on that. I don't know who they are. Maybe when you guys reach out, you might be able to get all the names on them. But we had a baseball team. All we played was Groton schools. It was a McLean. It was a Groton baseball league. We had a McLean team, and Louis Barber, Dave Barber's dad, was the coach, and he always reminded me of Babe Ruth. He always had that goofy glove like Babe Ruth wore with a big thumb on it, the old style.
Yeah.
He just built like Babe Ruth, But he was our coach, and we ended up winning the championship that year.
Wow.
Tom Keegan was I mean, you feel like it was the big leagues, but Tom Keegan was our catcher and I was third base, and me and him got a pinch play going, and we ended up getting the last out in the game. But yeah, we played all Groton schools, and I played basketball there and played baseball, and I was right into a lot of the sports and stuff. And then when I transferred to Dryden, going from a small school to a bigger school, I kind of backed away from all that stuff, and you kind of didn't feel like you were good enough to be on some of the teams and stuff. So I just kind of laid back. And
wasn't your primary sport football, right? I only saw you pictures in football, right?
yeah, I started out I love wrestling, and I wanted to wrestle for Coach Foot, and he ended up jumping out, and I had Coach Valentine. That guy was a piece of work. And one of my probably one of the very few regrets I have is I quit wrestling because he ended up taking Coach Foot's spot when I was going to go to JV and varsity.
Okay.
And I was done with him. And it kind of bothered me because, I feel like I had a pretty good chance of doing something with it.
Well, you had the wrestling body.
Yeah, my whole family's wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't work out or nothing, but I was always in pretty good shape. We just worked hard at home. And
did you get together with Jamie Brotherton? I remember he was a big wrestler.
Jamie was awesome. Yep.
Yep.
He was always he was smaller than I was, but he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yep. Carl Willis.
Yep. I remember Carl wrestling. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. When I wanted to, I'd go down to my uncle's in Owego, and he was quite a wrestling coach, and all my cousins down there wrestled, and Dad would take me down on the weekend, and I'd learn all kinds of stuff, and they'd go up and practice it, and Valentine would have a wig out because we haven't practiced that yet. Well, when are we?
Are we going to be doing that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and we never did. He barely got you past basics, and I was striving to go in the Olympics is what I wanted to do. And
wow.
And I think I had the attitude and the mentality to do it, but I walked away from a dream, and that's a story I tell the kids when I was at school teaching.
Yeah.
There's only one thing I've ever quit at, and that was what it was, and I let somebody dictate my future, and don't ever let anybody do that.
Yeah. Yep. Great lesson.
Yep. So anyways, I laid low. I mean, I did some running. I did track for I think a year.
Yep.
And it was funny with track. Did you guys do track at all?
I did indoor track.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I just watched.
When we ran, we did what?
I said I just watched.
Yeah. Well, I kind of did too. But we'd come out of the school and turn right, and then turn left, head towards Main Street.
Yep.
And then we come back around, and there'd be the Tasty Treat right there. Well, I had pretty good wind, and I could run forever, and I got way ahead of everybody, and I just couldn't pass that $1.50 Monster chocolate milkshake.
Monster milkshakes. I remember
that baby
milkshake.
Yeah,
buddy.
So I'd get so far ahead of everybody, I'd pull out $1.50, and I'd sit on the bleacher on the picnic tables watching everybody trickle by, and I'm sucking down that milkshake, and then I jump them in the middle of the clan and finish out.
They're like, what's Ron doing?
But I don't know. It wasn't my thing, but I enjoyed it when I did it. But I remember I think we ran against Groton, and those boys and girls ran together at the time, and this girl blew past me like I was standing still in the 100. I still don't know who she was, but golly. You think you're pretty fast, and then she whipped by me, and I'm like, what the heck? All I could see was her bandana flapping like this.
Yeah.
But she that was I did track, and then I didn't do anything after that. I just worked on the farm and raised a little cane. And
now I have this memory, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you and Nick Gutchess used to hang out in the weight room, like at lunchtime.
Yeah.
I remember you guys like lifting more weight than was physically possible.
Yeah, they didn't have enough. Yeah, we challenged each other, but Nick was a big boy.
He was a big guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was so quiet.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what was funny was one of my memories of Nick was that in seventh grade, Mr. Muse's history class, New York history, second floor, it was snowing out.
Did he when
Nick,
he jumped out of the off the roof?
Nick goes out the window.
Yeah, or out the window. Yeah, yeah. I'm sitting there in class and I see this. What the heck was that?
Well, the first floor would be like, you'd see some snow coming down, and then a guy come down, right?
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Now,
Yeah,
how'd you get tagged into football? Did they ask you to play, or did you just decide you want to play football?
I don't remember. I think Beck started and he asked me to come.
Yep.
I think he talked me in. He talked me into a lot of dumb stuff. That guy. He was dang dangerous. But yeah, my junior year I played, and it's kind of funny. The coach Smith had me run the 40, and I ran it in 4.6. And he looks at his watch. He says, "There's no way, Jackson, you did that. Go do it again." Well, I ran it again and did it in 4.6. And he says, "We've got to get you running the ball." And that was all I ever heard of it. Well, where I grew up, there was only a couple kids in the neighborhood. And when you played football, you were either the quarterback and the receiver, or the quarterback in the center, or maybe you handed the ball to yourself, and the front line had to do 1001, 1002 before they could come get you. And so there was no need to know any of the positions in the football field. So I literally, and I still don't know them all.
Yeah.
I do not know the difference between a tackle and a guard. Okay. Right. So, anyways, we're practicing, and Coach Smith says, "All right, Jackson, I want you to run the ball," and he pulls me off defense. I was nose guard, and we were tearing up the front line pretty good. And says, "All right, I want you to run the ball." He says, and I can still remember this like he's standing there telling me. He says, "I want you to run off left tackle, right side on hit," because our cadence was hit go now. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Okay, coach," and I get up there and I'm standing back there and I'm looking at the line and going, "Which freaking guy is the tackle?" He snapped the ball and gave it to me.
You're like,
put my head down. Yeah, no lie.
Got a question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, right. I put my head down, and I'm telling you what, I might better run right into a brick wall. And Danny Ellis picked me up and stuffed me right in the dirt, and the whole pile lands on top of me. And all I can remember is this fist coming down through the pile, grabs my face mask, and drags me out of there. And Coach Smith he's blowing spit. He's so doggone mad. "I told you off left side of the tackle." I mean, he's just going off. Yeah. And I look at him and go, "Which one's the tackle, coach?" And he points in the air and goes, "You're on defense. You're on defense." That was my first, last, and only offensive play with the ball.
Wow.
Yeah, I had no idea.
So you didn't do JV ball. You went straight to varsity?
Well, I played JV so I could get some experience because I'd never played before, obviously. And I think I had like 60-some tackles behind the line of scrimmage and sacks all put together. So,
so we had 60 tackles behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so I'm not blowing my own horn. I'm just kind of telling you where it was at.
Yeah.
And they figured I was okay to go on varsity and give it a try. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a whole nother world to get in varsity. So I was a defensive, I was a linebacker, I guess, on JV, and they put me on as nose guard. Mm-hmm. And I just had fun. I killed the guy with the ball, Pretty simple.
Find the guy with the ball.
That sounds just like football.
Yeah,
it's football.
Tear him up.
Tear him up.
Yeah, no, I was short enough where people couldn't stop me. I was strong enough where I had the horsepower to get out from under it. And
yep.
I'll tell you what, the hardest I've ever been hit, other than Danny Ellis, is Joe Motzi. He'd spear you.
Oh.
We were in practice, live practice, and he had sweeping around the one side, and I was coming across there, and that son of a rip hit me right in the ear hole, and I'm telling you what.
You rang your bell.
I didn't let go, but buddy, I'm telling you what, I saw stars. That boy can hit.
Hmm.
But he was a heck of an athlete.
Who was the quarterback on your senior year?
Uh, Mike Motzi.
Was it Mike? Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say either Mike or Craig, probably.
Yeah.
Craig ran the ball. He had some wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, and I wished I started football sooner than I did, but it goes back to the small school, big school, intimidation type of thing. But yeah, I played with Randy and Nels both played. I stinking Nels, I don't know if anybody knows or not. He's got a photographic memory,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew that playbook like nobody. I'd look at that thing. I didn't even know what the X's and the O's were. I was like, just tell me where to go, Boz.
Yeah.
Point.
Guy with the ball, right?
Yeah,
I'm not memorizing anything. Just tell me what to do.
that's right. And Beck, he's just a horse, anyways.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, we had fun, the three of us. It was a good time.
Well, let's dig into that a bit.
Which part?
Which part?
The three of you having a great time in school. That was your core group, right? Nelson and
That was
Randy.
all. They were it. Yeah, we were his dad. Everybody called us the Three Musketeers, and his dad used to call us the Three Muskequeers. He was thinking Randy'd go on a date, and me and Bo's go with him. Drove him nuts. We'd be in the
Wow.
back seat.
Dad,
Randy'd be up
Randy's
there-
coming to pick me up.
Randy be up there in the front seat with his girlfriend. And there's me and Bo's right in the back seat.
What'd you call him? Boulder?
Bo's.
Oh,
Oh.
both.
Yeah. It's Nels' nickname's Bo's.
I didn't know that. Was that during school or is that after?
Yeah, it's kind of after school.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I forgot Dave Barber. They called him Louie. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I was. I'll tell you, the three of us have done a lot of silly stuff together.
Did you guys ever ever get suspended or have detention in school?
No.
Really?
Really?
The only time I ever had to go to the office, we lived on top of a huge hill.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
The bus wouldn't come up it, so we always had to walk down it for school. Well, in the winter, you got every ounce of clothing you got just to survive the hypothermia that's kicking in when you walk down that hill.
Mhm.
And when I'd get to school, I had, extra clothes, extra boots, extra coats, and I was always late getting in the whole room because I'm trying to get my dang stuff off, and our bus was usually late, and so I got jumped on, and I had a pretty good attitude, and I usually didn't snap back, but something pulled my trigger when I walked in there. A teacher jumped on me, and I felt like he was putting me down, and I just snapped back and ended up in the principal's office. But that really was the only time.
Who was the teacher?
Was it Mr. Hugh or Hume, or I can't remember his name. Was it Hume?
Well, we had a Hume.
Yeah, I think it was him. Yeah, and I don't know what brought it on, but that was really the only time, other than there was that other time.
Oh, here we go. Oh, spill it.
There
Well,
was
we
that
were-
other time.
Remember when the senior lounge was over there in the middle of the lobby with the lion and all that?
Yeah.
Well, we got the bright idea. Just stupid stuff, but we'd get two chairs and we'd sit in them and get right up, get your knees bent up, and put your feet on that stone that used to go around the line and push off and see who could slide back the farthest. Well, I forget. I think it was me and Randy might have been up there. I can't remember now. And we shoved off there, and the stupid, great big 2-inch thick slate rock blew right off the top of that thing and smashed on the floor.
No way.
Yeah, in like a millisecond, the principal's door opened up because there was a door that goes
Yeah.
right into the lobby from the
It's right
principal's,
there. It's right
Yep.
there. Yeah.
which I did not know. And he was hot. So you know what? It was me and Nels, because me and Nels had to go get mortar and he made us fix it. So we had to mix up cement and put the dang cap back on it. Yeah.
So, did the lion hit the ground as well as the slab?
No, lion stayed firm, and no, just a slab. Yeah, that was wow. And it made quite a racket.
I can imagine.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That
we didn't. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff we probably should have got in trouble for, but we didn't.
Mhm.
Because I always, I mean, my memories of you, it's interesting because, everybody calls you Stonewall Jackson. I have no clue what my nickname was in school. It was probably like Paper Mache Jackson or, you know,
Paper mache.
Balsa Wood Jackson or something like that. But I remember you being so kind. You there was a cadre of folks in school that were, I don't want to use the word bully, but kind of bullyish. But you were never, ever, ever, ever mean I never saw you being mean to anybody, talk bad to anybody, bully anybody. You
And
seem to be the nicest guy.
well, I tried to be, but I was raised that way, and
Yeah,
we just, I don't know, I call it country fun. We just went out and had country fun.
Yep.
yeah,
Then we tried not to destroy other people's property. We tried not to, like you say, go and single somebody out. And I
yeah,
just, I don't know, I just don't, I never had much tolerance for that myself. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Good on you, sir. Good on you.
I am not perfect.
Well, who is? Nobody is.
Yeah. I don't know, I respect people. I was, I was really shy all the way through school until I'd say my 11th grade. I started to come out of a shell.
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't know half of our class until probably my 11th grade.
Mm.
Started playing
Oh,
sports and,
yeah.
met that side of the group. And,
Yes.
it just, I don't know. It just seemed like I finally came out of the shell in my 11th grade.
There you go.
Who was your? I don't want to use the word favorite or influential, but we can use both those categories. Who was your?
Mrs.
Let's start with your favorite.
Tettenbaum.
What's that?
Mrs. Tettenbaum or Miss Tettenbaum.
Tenenbaum. Okay.
Miss T's.
Hmm.
Yep. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have graduated.
Why? How was she? How was she an influence on you?
She tutored me, took me right
Oh,
in after
nice.
school,
Yeah. Okay.
worked with me, got my grades up.
Hmm.
Yep. Now a funny story on that. I when I started at teaching, I had a pretty good job and paid very well.
Hmm.
And when I went to the school, it didn't pay well.
Mhm.
But I left the plant early. I probably could have stayed a couple more years, but I want control of my destination. I don't want to wait till somebody says you're done.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I went to the school, and I knew I wasn't going to make the money that I was, and so I get in there and I quit my job, and I'd started there, and they tell me I got to go take a test, and I'm like, what do you mean that I didn't know anything about no dang test? Because I've always had the theory that
Yep.
I'm never going to work somewhere where I have to take a test to prove how stupid I am. So, I've always worked off my back. So
Yeah.
she says, no, you got to take, it's 100-question test. It's writing, reading, and math. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I haven't had math since 10th grade. So, and I definitely haven't done too much English in my life.
Mhm.
So she says, yeah, everybody's got to take it. I said, all right. Well, not everybody, but I
Yeah.
have. So, anyways, I go down, I take the test, and she assured me, she says, don't worry, I've been here over 20 years. This is a human resources girl. She says, only one person's ever failed it. All right. I feel better. And I studied and I studied. And I didn't know what to study for. I just
Right.
studied.
Mhm.
And I get over there and I take the thing. I was in Buffalo over to college. And son of a rip, I didn't fail that stupid thing. So, and you got to pass it to stay, right? And I'm thinking, I just walked away from 100,000+ job and I'm making
Yeah.
32.
Yeah.
You're telling me I'm not good enough?
Hmm.
So I have to take this thing again. It's $100 every time you take it. And so meanwhile, between studying and getting ready to take it again, they come to me and he says, "Oh, by the way, we need to get a copy of your diploma." I says, "I've moved from Groton to Indiana to Somerset." I said, "It's probably in a box I haven't even opened up yet."
Mhm.
Ah.
So we get looking for it, and finally, uh, I went in. I said, "I can't find it. There's no way in the world. I have no idea where it's at." Says, "We'll just call the school and have them email you your transcript." All right, I'll do that. So I got a hold of Dryden. It's Ron Jackson, blah, blah, blah. Yep, no problem. We'll have you tomorrow. Bam, I get it. I open up that email and holy cow. And my mom used to cry when I got my report cards because she figured I was going to be not making it. And I just blew it off. I never
Mhm.
took school real serious. And son of a rip, I got that last report card and for that transcript 68, 71, 79. I'm like, I am not giving them that. I
Yeah.
just failed a test and I've got this thing that's like just barely borderlining me through school. They're
Yeah,
gonna think
you
I just hired a
squeaked it.
moron to teach kids.
Yeah.
So I came home and I says, Deb, I said, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we gotta find that dead gun diploma. And she's sitting in a chair and she goes, oh, wait a minute, let me go check one more place. And I'll be dang, she opened up a tote and there it was right on the top.
Wow.
So I dodged that bullet.
Right. Wow.
But anyways, I don't even know what did you ask me anyways? I'm just babbling.
Well, no, you got the diploma. You had to take the test again to get
Yeah,
that.
I finally passed that stupid thing.
Mhm.
Right. Second time.
Huh? Yeah, second time.
All right. Cool.
Because you knew it was on the test that time.
No, I didn't help. I'll tell you what, you know what's funny? I thought I aced this thing. I walked out of there thinking, yeah, I'm in the 90s. I passed it by 1 point,
Ah,
but I don't care. It just said pass. That's all.
They hired you, so they kept you on.
if it's
Yeah.
pass fail, pass fail.
That's right. Pass fail. That's all you care.
Yep.
Wow.
So yeah, I ended up working there for 6 years, and I don't know. We had 80, almost 80 students.
Yep.
40 in the morning, 40 in the afternoon. We had 2 teachers in the classroom, but it was all good.
So this is a good segue then, because you were looking for your diploma. Now, when was the last time you cracked a yearbook besides these couple of photos you put
Today.
today?
Oh, he's
Yep.
updated then. All right.
And do you happen to remember your senior prophecy?
Yes, I think I found it in there, and it was like I wanted to win a muscle competition or some stupid thing.
How'd that work out for you?
What the frig? What was I thinking? I'll tell you what,
There it was right there.
What's that?
There it is right there.
Yeah, there it is right there. Yep.
That's hysterical.
Winning more
no,
Mr. Muscle contest.
Wait, so that implies that you won one before. Because it said
Well,
winning more.
you don't know what that means? I'll explain it to you.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't.
That stupid pepper rally. Well, the cheerleaders came around and they took pictures of us without our shirts on.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but I do very well. And they taped our faces off and they put them on coffee cans and they put them out in the lobby and people dropped coins in it or money in it, who they thought was the best chest and who they thought was the best legs. And you didn't know who our faces were. So they call us in the gym for a stupid pepper rally and they get on the speaker and they said, well, we're going to announce the winners of the best chest and best legs award.
Hold that. Hang on. What? Is this senior year?
Yeah, senior year.
Wow.
So they announced me as the best chest award, and I walk out in the middle of this stupid gym. Now I'm pretty shy.
This is great.
That stupid lion tried to put a bra on me because that was my prize, which I still have somewhere. Oh yeah. So and remember the payphone? It used to be right outside the gym.
Yep.
Right
Yeah.
there in the lobby. So
Yep.
I called mom. I says, Mom, you are not gonna believe this. I finally won something. And that was not what she expected. But
Wow.
But yeah, and then what was his name? Stevens, Dan Stevens?
Danny.
Yeah, I think he won the Mr. Legs or the best legs. He got pantyhose.
Nice.
Yeah, right out in the middle of that dang pepper alley. I about punched that line right in the nose.
This is the cheerleaders who put that
He used to be
together?
around trying to get that bra on me. I'm like, this ain't happening, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So this was the cheerleaders that put that together?
Yeah, cheerleaders, a little.
Was it for
darlings.
charity? What were they doing it for?
Yeah, just I don't know, charity probably, I guess.
Wow.
or
I
just
don't remember that at all.
pure embarrassment. I'm not sure
That
which.
that or
That's
the
probably
Glee
it.
Club, right?
What's that?
That or the Glee Club.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's funny.
What else you got, Dave? Bring up some other stuff we can talk about.
What else do I got here? So you want to know what, get any recollection of what you wrote in Mr. Jackson's yearbook?
He probably wrote the same thing in everybody's yearbook,
You
except maybe
probably.
Randy and Nels.
Here it is right here.
From one Jackson to another.
Baby, looky
From
there,
one
huh?
Jackson to another.
Looky there, from another brother.
My
That's
picture was
funny.
right there next to yours.
That's
Indeed.
funny. My mom was mad because I put that picture in. She says, "You're always smiling. Why did you put that in there?"
That is a very serious picture.
That's pretty.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that one, but I did.
But you wore a good suit.
Oh yeah,
Nice tie there.
probably
You
my
did.
grandma tied it for me.
I was going to ask, who's your grandma? Your grandma tied it for you?
I
Nice.
guarantee it. I've still got one on the hanger she tied.
That's funny.
Loop it over the head, right?
That's it. Choke her up and go.
Choke her up and go.
Choke her up and go. That's exactly it.
That's great. Wow.
What else you want to know?
Let's see. I have a list of questions. We pretty much killed all my questions that I had, but going back to my memories of you, and a lot of them were in the hallway with Randy and Nelson. My recollection of all my interactions with you were just so nice. I just can't. I have nothing but great memories of our interactions, Ron. I don't know if it's because we have the same name. Obviously not, because we're in the same family. But you just came across as being so level-headed in school.
No, thanks, man. I was more shy than anything.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be the case. I was trying to figure out this one right here. Because this doesn't look shy at all.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
anti-shy.
Yeah, that was probably that was the senior year. Remember when I told you my 11th and 12th year I came out of my shell?
Yeah.
I was out of the shell.
You were shelling there.
There is no shell to be seen.
There's no shell
there. Yep.
I'm shellless.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I love those two. They were good friends.
So put some
I'll tell you a little story about them little snot heads. You want to hear?
Absolutely.
We would love to hear a story.
Randy Beck and I, we were out haying, and then Randy gotten up early, do chores and all that. Well, by the end of the night, he was whipped. He was done. And Amy, the little darling, calls the farm, and I'm talking to her, and she says, "Hey, you guys want to go to a movie?" I don't know. Let me check with Rand. And Rand, you want to go? Nah, no, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I said, all right. Yeah, nah, we're out. She says, no, seriously, we want to take you guys to a drive-in. Drive-in at the time. I says, no kidding. I says, well, what's playing? She goes, Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, no. She goes, it's X-rated. I'm like,
oh, the plot thickens.
Hey, Rand, get showered.
Get showered. We're going
We're
out.
going to the movies. So I'm driving. We run over and pick them up, and we race. The movie's already started. We race to the paying booth, and I jump out of the car, and I'm racing through my pockets. I'm fumbling around trying to get money to them as fast as I can, and jump back in the car and race in there. And the guy's probably looking at me like, "What the frig is wrong with this guy?" And we get in there, and it was a daggone cartoon. Oh yeah, they duped us. I'm telling you what, we could have choked them both. So we weren't done yet. Okay. So Randy's got this old farmhouse down the road from his place, an old dead end road. And we went in there. It wasn't their place, but it was just an old abandoned house. So me, him, and Nels went in, and we created this haunted house. We got holes cut in the floor with ropes and pulleys. One of us is going to be upstairs pulling. The ghost is going to come out and shoot across the ceiling. The windows had big traps. They're slamming shut. And we had holes in the floor where we could reach up and grab their feet. We had this thing mastered. And we were like a week from taking the girls to it. And son of a rip, if the guy owned the house didn't burn the dang thing down. Rules and everything went right with it. We're like, dig going. So we never got to get even, but yeah.
It was a great plan, though.
Oh yeah, it was yeah.
Sounded like a plan.
Yeah. So yeah, and them two they were a pair.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, they set us up.
I'd like to find Sherry Williams. It'd be fun to talk to her.
Yes.
Yeah,
we did an Amy show.
We did Amy. Yeah, we talked to Amy.
Yep. She must know where she's at, don't she?
I don't know if we asked her. I'll have to go back
What's
and look
that?
where Sherry Williams is at.
Oh, I'm not sure about Sherry Williams.
Yeah, they were click and clack there for a while.
Click and clack. Yep.
Clicking and clacking. Now, I have to ask you about this here.
When you guys get done, I got a story to tell you about our senior trip.
Okay.
That's got Randy Beck written all over it.
Little Abner?
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this looks like you guys were supporting cast members.
Yeah, we were definitely not the lead role.
But you had to be the muscle out back, right?
Well, what happened was these skinny, scrawny guys went in a machine and then we spit out.
Yes.
So we were what the machine gurgitated.
That's hysterical.
Now, how did you get involved with the production?
Freaking Randy Beck is how I got involved. Exhibit A.
Exhibit A.
That guy talked me into more crap. Jackson, it'll be fun. I said, are you crazy? God, come on, I'm going to do it. I said, if you're going to do it, I'll do it. And sure enough, we did.
Now, who's that on the left? Is that Kurt or who is that on the left?
On the left, that's Pat Cotterill.
Yeah, that's Pat Cotterill.
Right?
Or Pat Mesmer now, right?
Right. Yep.
And this is Cardwell, right?
No,
Randy.
I forget who that was. I don't think that was Cardwell. I don't know. I can't remember who it was.
Huh. Yeah, I thought it was Cardinal too.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but it might be, but I don't think it was.
Well, we'll have to go back and we'll do some research on Little Abner then.
Yeah. But that was I'm telling you, I've never been involved with that sort of stuff before.
Yes.
And ever since that, I've got a new appreciation for people that do band, that do plays, that kind of stuff, because there is so much work that goes into getting ready and being able to do that stuff and pull it off. It was absolutely amazing. Nothing but respect. Yeah. In fact, when I got out of school and we graduated, me and Deb would go and watch plays every now and then, just because of what it meant to me.
Now you said you had a story in there.
Oh yeah, senior trip.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear a senior trip story.
Oh my God! Well, there's several of them. You got time?
But he never got in trouble, though, Dave. He never got in trouble.
Never got in trouble.
Yeah, no. Well, it started with Did you guys went on senior trip, didn't you?
I did.
You did, yeah. I've got a picture of you standing out there with your luggage getting on the bus or something.
All right.
I'll send it off to you.
Yeah.
So anyways, you remember when we went down, they didn't have our hotel first night.
Yep.
Well, we ended up staying in that rinky dink there, and Mike Matze and Kurt and I think Everett showed up in a van. And that thing was loaded with beer from one end to the other. And they needed a place to stay. So me and Beck figured, you can stay with us. And so they did. And Randy got his first taste of whippets there.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God. Those guys talked him into doing that. And Randy, he's adventurous. He's not afraid to try goofy stuff, right? And oh my God, he did that dang thing and he fell right over backwards like a tree falling. I'm so glad the bed was behind him. He was down. So anyways, we went to the hotel that we stayed in. If you remember, it was shaped like a horseshoe, right? Yep. Guys on one side, girls on the other.
Pool in the middle.
Those guys moved in with us, and our whole our whole bathtub was full of ice and beer. Mm-hmm. And I never drank in school, so beer wasn't a thing for me, but everybody around me, I usually get to watch them get all goofed up, which is
Yep.
half of fun. So, uh, so we got three more guys when we're supposed to in our room, and we wrestled and we banged around, and uh, so it was kind of late. And one of us had a camera. I don't remember who I had, and it had. Remember the flash that you put on? You switch the button on, it makes a little screaming noise, and it winds up,
Yep.
and then you hit the button, and poof.
Yep.
Well, we were out of film, and I'm walking. I spent more time over on the girls' side goofing around than I did on our side, and so it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I sneak out, and I walk past our chaperones are just down the couple rooms down, and I see a light on. I'm like, what the frig are they still up for? And I look in between the curtains, and it's not their room, and it's a guy and girl, and they are just getting at it. and for a teenage boy from the country, you don't see that stuff.
Yeah.
I raced back to the room, and I gotta have witnesses,
Witnesses, right?
And I'm waking everybody up and say, guys, you've got to come down here and see this.
Check this out.
And I, for some reason, grabbed the flash.
Oh.
And we raced down there, and we look like the little rascals. All of our heads are all stacked up, looking through the crack of that thing. And I'll be danged if the door wasn't locked. And I turned the doorknob, I pushed the door open, I stuck my hand in there, and that thing's going poof. And that girl screams. Oh my God, does she scream? That guy comes out of there without a stitch of clothing, and he is going to kill somebody. We scattered like rats. I end up finding a fire escape, and a couple of us did, and we raced down that. I'm out in the parking lot, and I'm sprawled out underneath the car, and this guy's running around bare naked, barefooted. He's hollering and screaming. He's going to kill us, and oh my God, yeah, that was a night.
And obviously that didn't get reported back to to Lang or any of the chaperones, right?
Yeah, it was our last night there.
Oh wow!
The next morning we were pulling out. Wow. Yeah, but oh my God, that was hilarious. Yeah, that guy was hot.
Yeah,
that's the stupid stuff I'd find myself running into.
Look at that. That's such a great picture, by the way.
Yeah, there's the boys.
That's a great picture.
Yeah, I love them guys.
Yeah.
Well, that smoker behind me, we built that in school at Bosie's.
Oh wow!
All right, so I turned it into a project for my kids, and the funny thing of it is, the firebox on the end.
Yeah,
I sent you a picture of that. That me and Nels made that in 1979.
Wow!
So that firebox on the front was made in 79 at Bosie's, and the smoker itself we made 2 years ago at Bosie's. So
that would have been, let's see, this picture here you're talking about right here, this guy. Yeah, here's your firebox here, right?
Yeah, yep. We built that at Bosie's, and we raffled it off at, they used to have the Bosie's show down the Trip Hammer Mall.
Yeah, yep.
People buy a ticket, and son of a gun if Nelson's mom didn't end up winning it.
Oh, wow.
And she didn't want it, so I ended up getting it, and we heated our house. We heated mom and dad's house, and then it sat in the barn for a while, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that to fire a smoker, and it's kind of funny how it went from a Bosie's made product to a Bosie's made product,
So the firebox you actually used as a heater in your house.
Oh, the heater. Yeah.
Yep. We used to heat the house with that.
They did some modifications and turned it into the smoker.
Yep, and cut a big hole in the back.
Yep.
But it was just kind of neat because it was both of them were made in Bosie's, and
yeah,
just I don't know.
If you had showed me that picture earlier and never told me it was a smoker, I would have never guessed in a million years that was a smoker.
Oh, really?
I'd have never guessed in a million years.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you what, you can put a lot of food in that thing.
Looks like it. You could put a sub in that thing. Like a sub.
Yeah, so we'll have a couple cookouts throughout the year, and those guys will come up and spend the weekend. And
do you do a pig or do you do a cow?
I usually do briskets, pulled pork, turkey, prime rib, chicken wings.
Oh, Ron's gonna eat good.
Oh yeah, Ron's going to eat good.
I was gonna be good.
That is
Yeah.
perfect.
I told Robin if she wanted me to smoke some food for any of our reunions, but I guess if we use the one hall, they have to provide the food or something. But
I'm sure there's a rule. Probably
yeah,
a rule. Yeah.
but I'd be willing to do that for the class if we ever got to where we wanted to do that. Well, what
So,
you got?
so Dave, I think it's time to share the story,
Which story?
the Pam and you and Ron story.
I was afraid that was going to come up.
Oh, it
Well,
has.
there's actually two stories that we have to document just for such
Yeah.
an occasion, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me your version of
Katie Lane.
Katie Lane, because Pam and I were out there, doing what we do in the back of the car,
By
making
the way, was that first date, second date, third date? What date was that, Dave?
they had to be way after high school. I would have thought it had been either the summer or the fall after that, because we didn't really start dating until after graduation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you, we did stupid stuff. We
I
harassed
never got in
Parkers.
trouble.
We harassed Parkers like there's no tomorrow, and I don't know why we got such a big rush out of it, but we did.
So let me ask you a question then. So you have, how shall I say, interrupted other Parkers at that location.
Oh, many times. Yep.
There you go. Okay. See,
We,
I
would
thought somewhere I was.
we'd have a clan of us, and we'd run right over the top of the car.
Oh,
I'm telling you, we've been chased to the woods before with a car, and that's not. I know they'd have run us over if they could have caught us, but yeah, they didn't take it well.
yeah. So that particular night, what I remember is the door opening and then somebody having like a spare beer.
Yeah, I don't know where that beer came from, but
And
you know what? I apologize for that because
no,
that
we've gotten a
was
lot of mileage out of the beer nuts story.
yeah. Well, when I says, "Hey, look, there's some beer nuts," and you poured the beer in your lap.
Did you
Yeah,
know? Did you know it was Dave and Pam in the car? Or you just didn't care who it was.
I really didn't care.
You didn't know.
Yeah, not for sure. But
That's
I do apologize. That was
We all did many things, I would say, in high school that, you look back fondly on and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have done
yeah. I got some of them.
that. I got a bucket load of those.
We were raising Cane one night, and we were waiting for Randy Beck. He went out for dinner, so we were at the farm, and you can't leave us idle too long. And his keys were in his Volkswagen, and I think we tore first and third out of the transmission. We made a dirt track. We'd come out of his driveway, up the road, back into the barn. So, anyways, they come home, and while they were gone, we decided we'd load the truck up, and we had stopped there in Freeville, Cornell Gardens. There, they would
Yes.
always set fruit and stuff or vegetables out by the road, and we always helped them get rid of it. So it was Halloween, and they had a bunch of cabbage, and we loaded the truck right full of cabbage. And we went to Randy's and waited and waited and waited. Well, we took a lap around the barn. Well, son of a rip, we didn't find a calf, a dead calf.
Oh.
So we grabbed the calf and we threw it in the back of the truck. Now, this is just a dumb thing to do. And anyways, before we were all done, we ended up in Groton, and we strung the calf up on the Groton First National Bank flagpole. And I am telling you what, that was not one of the smartest things we ever did.
Oh my goodness.
Now, Dave, was that your dad's bank?
No.
Huh?
No.
Oh, so that was the first dumbest thing we did that night. The second dumbest thing was to turn around and go back. Yeah. A state trooper, a sheriff, and a city police there. They pulled us over, and it didn't go well. So yeah, that was one dumb thing we did. But
All right. Now, the other story that we need to work out here is I need to hear your version again of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Because we used to enjoy, I would say the entire soccer team and a lot of the football team would go down to either the State Theater or the Ithaca Theater and watch the midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, there was one special occasion where I seem to remember police officers, law enforcement arriving, and some events going on there.
Yeah, I remember something about that.
You might remember something. So tell me your version of the story again.
All right. There we
So
go.
There you
Rocky Horror Picture Show, take 2.
Rocky Picture Horror Show. Well, I'll give you the long-winded part of it, all right? That way we don't. I want to make sure you have all the details.
That's right. I want the details.
All right. So Randy Beck's in college, and I noticed he changed a little bit when he was in college, and it's just the jokes and the humor, the types of things he would do they were a little upscale from what we're used to. So he called me up. He says, "Hey, Jackson," he said, "I'm going to be home." He says, "Let's go to the movies tonight." And I was like, "Yeah, all right." He says, "What do you want to do?" He says, "I want to go watch that Rocky Picture Horror Show." I said, "What the frig is a Rocky Picture Horror Show?" I said, yeah, I don't think I'm interested in that, Rand. He says, no, it'll be fun. He says, you get to throw food. And now he's got my attention,
Yep.
That's right.
So I'm like, tell some more. So he explained everything. He says, yeah, and they'll be in there and they'll say, please pass the water. And they'll look at the camera and everybody throws water. Hey, you got any bread? And they throw bread. And I'm thinking, yeah, we can get into that. So I get a hold of everybody and I says, we'll meet at the farm, Beck's farm, and we'll head over. So between the Beck's farm and my house is the Tillotson farm, which they raise chickens. And I thought, man, if we could pick up a couple dozen eggs, that would be a good time. So I didn't know there were rules, So we stopped and I'm talking to, we call him Grandpa George. And I says, George says, do you got any eggs I can buy? He says, yeah, how many you want? He says, I don't know. He says, 4 or 5 dozen. He says, sure. He says, you'll have to go gather them. I says, all right. He says, and while you're in there, there's a rooster in there. I'm going to either eat him or somebody's going to get him out of here. I says, you don't want him? He says, no, take him. I says, sweet. So I grab him and we named him Elroy. So Elroy, I throw him in the back of the car and off we go. We get the farm and I think Russ Beck drove and he had a really nice car, plush velvet, and it was a pretty nice car. So we get in the car and I threw Elroy in the trunk and off we go. Well, we get to the movies and I had that big winter parka that I used to use to come down the hill or get on the bus, Air Force parka. And I had Elroy rolled up in a towel, shoved up underneath my coat. We're standing in line, and the dude at the door, he says, you need to unzip your coat. He says, why? I says, well, I got to see what's under there because he's checking coolers and stuff for glass.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine's in front. He says, well, that's all him. And he slaps my stomach. Well, all of a sudden, my coat starts shaking around like this. And the guy's eyes are bugging out. And I says, I'll be back. So I take off. And I was in a hurry. And I just threw the rooster in the front seat of the car. And that wasn't a good idea. So we went in. We watched the movie. And, we're throwing eggs. We're sitting way in the back. And we're throwing eggs left and right. We are. It was not good. And we hit the usher in the back of the head. He was ticked. And so we had 1 egg left. And we're like, what do you want to do with that? And I said, I don't know. See if you can hit the screen. So they launch it. And you see it go through the camera light, come back down through the camera light. And then you see this spot on the screen. And then you start seeing the screen waving, which I didn't know they just hung down like a normal screen. And the lights came on. And the manager comes out. And that man is beside himself. And I don't blame him. God knows what's going to cost to clean that screen off, but,
Right.
but we were kids. Well, we weren't, but we're acting like kids. But so, anyways, they're start to throw everybody out. Now, were you guys there?
I
Um,
was there for that.
I think I was there.
Oh,
I didn't hit you with an egg, did I?
No,
Okay.
no, we
I mean, the
we were
beer.
busy throwing everything else, the toast and the rice and the
Yeah,
water and newspaper
yeah.
and everything else.
I didn't get a menu. So anyways, I'd feel terrible if I hit you with an egg and a beer. So anyways, the ushers trying to get everybody out of there. Wow,
Right.
there ain't nobody leaving. They want their money back, right? And they're getting kind of rowdy. And I look at the guys. I says, "How about you?" But it's process of elimination. Who's throwing eggs? I says we probably ought to leave. So we head out, and just as we're heading out, two city cops pull in. They get out of their car and they run in like they're going to save the day. And I looked at a buddy of mine. He says, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" He says, "I think so." I went over and got that dang rooster out of the car, and we walked over and threw him in the front seat of that police car. And that bird bounced off every window in that place. I am telling you, you're in that car. So now you can't just leave, right? So we strategically get around where we can see what's going on. Well, here them cops come out, and the people are coming out. And of course, they're still ticked, and they walk out of there like, yeah, we're the man, we're the man. And then one cop stops, and he puts his arm out and stops his buddy. He says, "There's a chicken in my patrol car." His buddy looks at him, pushes his arm away, and says, "Get out of here." And starts walking again. He puts his arm out again. He says, "There is a chicken in my patrol car." Well, he's yelling it. Now everybody can hear it. And now the crowd's starting to circle around his car, right? And they're having no mercy with this. Well, we had to get better seats. So we weaseled our way up into the front, and I don't know what I said, but I was offered a ride with the rooster, and we figured that was a good time for us to leave. So we exited stage left, and I'm not sure whatever did happen to Elroy, but he took one for the team, I'm sure.
I took one for the team.
Took it for the team.
Did you get rid of all the eggs when you were in the theater? Or did you get
Oh
left?
yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we were empty, or we'd have stayed.
We were empty.
We fired them all. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the stupid stuff we used to do.
Wow.
But yeah, that was a fun night.
Yeah, that was a fun night. And we never got in trouble.
Never got in
No.
trouble. Never got in trouble.
No, there
No.
was one time, but that's beside the point. I mean, there was a couple times, but not in a lot of trouble.
Not a lot of trouble, just a measured amount of trouble.
Yeah, nothing paying a fine wouldn't take care of.
Now, have you told your kids about some of your antics?
Yeah, usually around the campfire that happens.
Yeah.
Randy and Nels will show up, and we get reminiscing. And
Yeah.
she
Yep.
used to
That's
love
got to
it.
be awesome.
Mom loves them stories. And yeah, no, we did some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Indeed.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, one of the questions that we often ask towards the end of our little thing here is if you had to give yourself some advice, and you have eloquently stated a couple of different things that you would have done differently, but if you had to give your high school, your 12th grade self some advice looking back now, what would you say to yourself 40 years ago?
Well, I do that every year with my seniors.
Yep.
My advice to them is always get good at one thing, because you never know when you got to fall back on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I use me for an example. I feel like I mastered welding. I got as good as I was ever going to get, and or as good as I had to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked away from it for 30 years, and here my job gets knocked out from underneath me. And what do? I fall back on my foundation.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's the best advice I could give kids is, build a good foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell the kids, I says, I don't care if you do it for the rest of your life, but get good at something.
Yep.
Because you never know when you got to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Might need a skill.
yep. And not even a
solid.
skill, just something, but be passionate about it, get good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know.
Yes.
It might be what you have to go back to stay alive and survive.
That's solid.
Yeah, I try to give the kids advice from my life, and I mean I can sit right there and say, guys, look, man, I haven't worked in a welding shop for 30 years, and I lost my job, and where do you see me? I'm teaching welding.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Just get good at it. Be passionate. Because
Have,
that's the thing about school. They expect kids, and I don't know if we had that kind of pressure. I don't ever remember getting it, but they expect kids to know what they want to do when they get out of high school.
Yeah.
That's a lot of years to retirement. You are not going to stay and do the same thing for 40 years.
That's something that, the average person these days is changing careers probably 3 or 4 times, I would say,
Yep.
between when they graduate and they think they have an idea what they want to do
Yep.
and when they get out of the workforce. It's not uncommon at all. And that was something that was always sold, I think, during our time is like, you guys going to be a plumber, or a teacher or engineer, whatever it is, for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Yep. Make sure you pick a skill.
Just get good at something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Do you have any questions for me and Dave before we end this absolutely wonderful conversation? This has been a complete joy, Ron.
Yeah, well, I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would.
See?
That campfire in the back really pulled me in.
It really did. It really did.
Yes. Yes.
I just hope I don't bore anybody, but
nope. Nope. Not one iota.
Yeah, no, I think what you guys are doing is pretty cool. I watched a few of them, just to see if it's something I wanted to do, and I was inspired by some of the students that we had on there.
Mm-hmm.
And what was really neat, I don't know if you guys saw this. I go to all the reunions, because it's neat to see where everybody ends up and how we got there.
Yeah.
And I remember the first reunion we had. It seems like we're all trying to impress each other.
Yeah.
Because it's just where you're at in your life. You want to make sure everybody knows you made good decisions, and life is shiny, and you're just happy as a clam.
Yeah.
What I noticed with the podcast, because our first reunion, I thought, and I don't mean this disrespectful, but it seemed phony. Sort of, we're all kind of pretending we're in a different place than we are, and we're making the greatest decision.
Mm-hmm.
But what I see on the podcast is all of us are humble. We're chugging through life. We're not trying to impress anybody. We're just who we are, and we're content with that. And that's what's really cool about what you guys are doing. That's what I see out of everybody. You get on there, and we're just adults that have grown up, and we've chiseled our path. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was going to say more than once, there was something special about the class of 80 where, everybody sort of got along, and, everybody turned out pretty good. There's,
I think we had the best class there ever was myself.
There's a lot of good people in our class.
Yeah.
I mean, how many student or classmates get together and do the thing you guys are doing, and having people talk with you with the comfort level that they have,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That does say a lot, Ron. It really does.
Yeah. I brag about our class all the time.
Yep.
And it breaks my heart that some classes will never be that close because they don't know what they're missing.
Yeah. Yep.
And look at the friendships, the lifelong friendships we've had.
Yeah.
We don't have to love each other. Randy and Nels, we'll go months without talking to each other, but
Right.
but when you pick up a conversation with each other, it's like we never stopped.
Right. Time collapsed. And it's
Yep.
like you're just back being buds.
Yep. When we moved to Indiana, we had a bunch of U-Haul trucks to haul home, and who do you think showed up to drive them?
Yep.
Those two knuckleheads,
Yeah.
Those two knuckleheads.
It just dawned on me, between the three of us,
Yeah.
we've all been married over 40 years.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Isn't that neat? I think
That
that's
is neat.
pretty freaking sweet. And
What
it says a lot.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Dave, thanks for serving.
You're,
That's
you're
pretty.
you're more than welcome, sir.
That's a commendable thing.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, no, I have nothing but respect for the guys that serve.
Yep.
I entertained the idea of it, and I ended up working instead. And you always wonder the what ifs, but
Oh, you had your path, Ron. You had your path.
yeah, well, it was a dirt road, but I was on it.
But you paved it, man. You paved that dirt road.
Yeah.
Right. You gravelled it, you paved it.
Yep.
You made it work.
But
Yeah,
that's honorable. Thank you.
you're welcome. You're
And
very welcome.
and
I do plan to make it to the reunion. I want to meet your wife.
oh, she's a saint. Good woman.
I
Yep.
want to meet her.
Yeah, we'll have to. This is kind of neat because this kind of generates a friendship too. I mean, the three of us weren't hanging out together and stuff,
Mhm.
but yet we're sitting here chatting and
Well, there was a lot of common there,
yep,
There was a lot of
Yep.
common.
yep. And Dave, you're an electrician, I guess. Is that what you're doing?
Electronics engineer.
Electronics.
Yeah.
Done well for yourself, huh?
It's been okay. It was a good run. And, I retired in 21 and I still teach about, probably 6 or so classes over the course of the year. We do a 1 week certification class. It's either in person or in Zoom. And then I still design in the afternoons when the local place has some overflow work.
Now, are you teaching college or high school?
These are professional level certifications. So these are engineers that are out working
Okay.
and they need a certification in how to design printed circuit cards. So I design this kind of stuff, right? Can't see that, right? Where'd it go?
Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Computer boards and stuff like that. So that's what I
Yeah.
design and I teach certification in that.
Yeah, that's way past my knowledge.
So
It's amazing.
it's a thing, right? It
Yeah.
fit my personality and skill set.
Yep. Well, you guys have done well for yourselves.
Well, as have you, sir. As have you.
Yep.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you're around your kids and your grandkids. I'm in the same boat. My daughter lives across town, and my 4 grandkids, 18 to 3, are just across. I see my grandkids almost every day.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yep.
It's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever.
You can be having a bad spell, and then the little rascals show up, and
And the kids.
all good.
It just all the bad stuff just goes away.
Yep.
It's all, you're right. It's awesome.
Indeed. Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty, sir. If you got nothing more for us, we're gonna let you go, man. This has been an absolute joy, Ron. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for putting up with my constant pressure to get you on here. But to be fair, I've had a few people say, "When you getting Ron Jackson on?" I'm like, "I'm working on it. I'm working
Working
on it."
on it.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to put in a good word there with Mr. Randy or Nels, we'd love to have him
I would
on.
love to have him.
Yeah. I tried to get Randy talked into. Randy's kind of funny. He just kind of does his own thing, and I think if we did it with the three of us, I might have been able to reel him in.
Yep.
Book it. Let's book it.
Well,
I'm not saying it's a for sure.
more than once we've had 2 guests on or a surprise guest that shows up partway through.
Yeah, I saw Matze and Marie came on there.
Yep. And
I'll tell you a quick story about Matze.
Oh, please.
We would love to hear one of those.
Yeah, we used to go to Pizza Hut on Friday nights and raise a little cane, and it was after a basketball game. I think, yeah, we were seniors, and we got in there and we ended up having, there was Cortland School, I think it was in there, and it started getting a little rowdy. Well, it turned into a full-fledged food fight, and to the point where they called the cops. And I remember Mike and this other guy were going to get at it. And I says, Mike, I'm telling you, the cops are coming. We got to go. And I picked him up and carried him through the kitchen and out the back door and threw him in Randy's truck to get him out of there.
Mike was ready to scrap.
Oh, yeah, he was wound up. I said, yeah, that's a bad idea, Mike. Time to go.
Yep.
Wow.
We used to go into that Pizza Hut, and they had the Happy Birthday song. It was the corniest song you ever heard.
Right.
We'd dump about $4 worth of quarters in there and then leave. We picked the Happy Birthday song. It got to the point where they just go over there and unplug it, but it took a while to get the figuring on that.
Was that the Pizza Hut in Ithaca or Cortland?
Cortland.
Cortland. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember there was a couple girls that they were with their moms, and they were kind of cute, and they were kind of ignoring us. And I kind of don't blame them. So me and I can't remember who was with me, but there was a couple of us stood on the tailgate. I think Bose was driving. He backed up to the window that they were sitting at, and we dropped our drawers and slammed our hind ends right against the dang window. Oh my God. And then away we went. Oh,
impress their mom.
Oh, yeah, left the hand marks right on the window. Here you go.
And to think, a few years before that, you were the shy guy in school.
Yeah, I know. As I said, my 11th and 12th year or something. I don't know what the heck happened.
Something went on.
That dang back.
I'm
All
blaming
right,
it.
Ron. Well,
All right,
again,
well,
this has been a joy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate talking to you guys. It's been surprisingly enjoyable.
There you go.
I didn't know what to expect.
We're known for that, being surprisingly
being enjoyable, right? That's us.
Hey, let's get together sometime. Hey,
Yep.
where do you guys live?
So I'm down in Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm in Butler, PA, just north of Pittsburgh.
Do you guys mind texting me your addresses?
No,
Piece of cake.
we can
Yeah,
do
do that, will you?
Yep.
Might stop in and see you sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going north and south.
Yeah, we mom passed away, and we take dad back and forth to Florida now, so
Yep.
Might be
Well, if you need a place to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got perfect midpoint right there in North Carolina.
yeah.
Raleigh's
Well, I would never impose on you, but I would like to see you guys.
Impose away.
Impose.
Impose away.
Impose away.
Well,
So if I come up to New York, can I book you for a bass boat trip?
yeah, heck yeah, or a hunting
Oh.
trip, or you can help
Yeah.
throw hay, you can milk some cows, and
Well, I'm just
Butcher
looking to fish, Ron.
butcher some
Okay?
chickens. Well, there's something
I'm
to do.
I'm not trying to throw a rooster into a car. I'm not trying to throw eggs at a movie theater screen. I just want to go fishing, Ron.
I guarantee you show up, we'll fire that smoker up.
Oh, nice.
There you
All right,
go.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, Ron. Well, get back to your evening, and thanks again, man.
Thanks
Hey.
for hanging out with us and chatting. We
Yep,
appreciate
it
your
was a
time.
pleasure, guys.
All right, cool.
Keep
All
keep
right,
it
sir.
up, okay? I think it's a good thing.
Tell your wife we said hi. Hi, Deb.
Yeah, she's in the other room, but
That's
All
right. How old are they? All right.
That was great.
yeah, I don't keep track of that crap.
It's tough. It's tough, man.
Yeah, I don't even waste the space.
They keep growing on you.
Yeah. I just
Alrighty
know
then.
Oh,
Been a good-
sorry, I just hit the wrong video button. Sorry.
Oh, wrong video button.
There you
Well, we're going to wrap it up here, Dave. But
Yeah.
thanks again, Ron. I appreciate you spending the evening with us.
Yep, and I'd like to say hi to any of our classmates that might join in on this thing.
Yep.
All right. We'll talk to your compadres about getting a little
Talk
thing.
amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
All right,
Okay.
cool.
All right,
All right.
sir.
Sorry
Take
about them
care,
beer
man.
nuts, buddy.
We got a lot of
End
mileage
on
out of
that
them.
one right there.
We
I
got a
am so
lot of
sorry
mileage
about
out of
that.
that story.
All right, guys. See
All right.
ya.
See ya.
Good night, guys.
Yeah, good night.